Today we're going to be talking about if dumpers come back after a breakup. And if you stick around until the end of this video, not only am I going to answer that very big question, but I'm going to show you how to raise your chance if you are the dumpee and how to get the dumper to come back to you. But first things first, if you're sitting there and thinking, will a dumper come back after a breakup? Probably the fastest way for you to get a very quick answer is to actually hop over to our website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, and take our X Recovery Chances quiz. It's a simple, free 2-minute quiz designed to basically tell you what kind of chance you have of getting your ex back. Now, what it won't do is tell you how to get your ex back. It's simply there to help you determine whether or not getting your ex back is a good idea or you should be simply moving on. So if you're interested in taking this quiz, simply look in the description link below this YouTube video and click on the link you see there. All right. So let's answer the big question. Do dumpers come back after a breakup? To be honest with you, I feel like I'm one of the most qualified people to answer this because about 80% of the overall traffic we get to our websites, our YouTube channel, our podcast are from people who've been dumped. And what's interesting is through talking with a lot of these people, we have definitely had plenty of success stories. Now, what do I mean by success story? Well, I mean success story in the fact that they got their exes back because that's what they were intending to do. And what you'll notice is if you go to my YouTube channel where you're probably watching this video, you'll find that there's a playlist called Success Story Interviews. And basically it's just me sitting down with an hour with these people and asking them, hey, what did you do to get your ex back? And they tell you all about their situations. About 90% of those videos is from the perspective of the dumpee, someone who's been dumped by an ex. So if you're wondering if dumpers come back after a breakup, answer is yes, they absolutely can come back after a breakup. Though, what is the general average amount of time that they'll come back? Well, this is kind of where things get interesting. Now, you notice at the beginning of this video, I promoted the X Recovery Chances quiz. This quiz is basically, like I said, designed to tell you what kind of chance you have of getting your ex back, but what it doesn't tell you is the overall average chance in the world of exes coming back together. And what's hard to kind of pin your nose down into how often this can occur because there's not a lot of people doing research on it. Not a lot of reputable people, I should say. So over the course of the past 10 years, I've come across multiple different studies from very, very trusted sources, but they're not perfect studies by any means. But what I've done is I've averaged the studies together, and I think I've actually done this in an article on my website, Ex-Boyfriend Recovery, where we basically were asking, hey, what is the overall chances of success of getting an ex back if you're trying to get an ex back without doing anything? And when you average all of the studies together, they find that about 43.5% of the time, your ex can come back. That's pretty low. That means 6 out of 10 times you're probably not going to be getting your ex back. Now, does that mean that's the overall chances of success if you do things the right way? Actually, no, it's not. And that's why I'm excited to actually tell you when I actually averaged our success rate together. Okay, so let's use that 43.5% as sort of the benchmark. That's the mark to hit. What do our methods do to your overall chances of success? Well, this year, Coach Anna and I have coached hundreds of individuals. And so far this year, we've estimated, when we actually did the research, about 70% of those individuals have successfully gotten their exes back. They didn't necessarily stay together the entire time, and it's not necessarily a fair comparison because these are people who are paying us to give them undivided attention. So when you look at the success rate for ex-boyfriend recovery as a whole, it's probably much lower than that mark. But for people who are serious about trying to win exes back, we have found that this year, and it's not the same every year, it varies, about 7 out of 10 people have successfully gotten their ex back, which is staggering. And you'll notice we consistently have all these success story interviews that we're doing. So the question becomes, obviously, yes, you can definitely get an ex back if they've dumped you, but how? What is separating the successful people from the unsuccessful people? And after talking to many of these different success stories and understanding what they're doing versus what they're not doing, we have found that there are 3 clear patterns that can help you dramatically improve your chances of success. Now, the one disclaimer I do want to say is that the 7 out of 10 people getting their ex back is not normal. In fact, we cannot guarantee that you will get your ex back. And I want to repeat that again. We cannot guarantee. All we can do is help you sort of play the perfect chess match. But sometimes you're up against a chess grandmaster and you just can't win. And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, all this is about is doing the best possible work or attempt that you can possibly do. So, what are these 3 patterns that we've noticed from our success stories? Well, the first one's pretty obvious. People who tend to successfully win their exes back let go. Now, what do I mean by this? They let go. Well, ultimately what that means is most people put their exes up on a pedestal, especially if they've been dumped. They feel like, oh my gosh, this person has rejected me, and they almost give them unnecessary power. The difference between people who are successful is they go through a period of time where they're really depressed and upset and angry about the fact that they have been broken up with. But eventually they get to a point where they're just like, I don't care about getting that person back anymore. I feel confident enough with the work that I've done. They let go, ultimately. And lo and behold, when they let go, the ex all of a sudden pays attention to them. It's sort of this weird exes want what they can't have type dynamic. But that's not the only thing that they're doing. The second pattern we've noticed is that they rewire the way they look at problems. So here's something that probably shouldn't come as a shock to you. When you are going to attempt to get someone back who dumped you, probably things are not going to go your way 100% of the time. In fact, we can almost guarantee that something will go wrong. And how you handle those potential roadblocks or problems is really determinant on your overall chances of success. Because the people who are successful tend not to look at these problems as world-ending events. They actually look at the problems as fun problems that they can solve. To them, it's not about succeeding. It's about having fun and doing the best possible job they can do in solving this particular problem. Now, this is an extremely hard mindset to achieve because guess what? When emotions are involved and you feel like someone's rejecting you, it's normal to feel hurt. But we're noticing that our successful people look at problems in a different way. They're thinking, oh, wow, it sucks that he's blocked me here. Well, how can I get them to unblock me? This is going to be fun. I'm going to try to figure this out. That's how they view life. That's how they view problems. Again, not an easy mindset shift to have. So that's the second pattern we've noticed. But what's the third pattern? So the third pattern is all about achieving a flow state in the no contact rule. So a lot of times you'll hear me on this channel talk about the no contact rule and why it's something that you should do, and ignoring your ex is important because of X, Y, Z. But one thing that we really don't talk about is why. Because the ultimate aspect of the no contact rule that makes it so powerful is the work you do on yourself. It's putting the focus from your ex onto you. And oftentimes, all it's about getting into no contact is hitting this momentum. Now, we've all heard of athletes being in the zone or the flow state. Basically, it's the state of mind where you're completely focused on a task. Nothing is bothering you. Your self-doubt goes away. You start to learn better. You're more effective. You're in the moment. You perceive everything. And almost it's like we often hear this runner's high, right? You run and just next thing you know, time has dilated. You feel like, wow, where did that go? I was having so much fun doing this thing that I forgot. Well, people who are successful tend to view no contact in this way. They struggle a lot at first, but eventually they focus on specific tasks to get them into this flow state, almost where they're just flowing from one thing to the next. Their voice of self-doubt goes away. They feel like they can't do anything wrong, and the beautiful part about it is they're not focusing on their ex at all. They're focusing on one specific aspect of the Holy Trinity. Now, I talk about the Holy Trinity a lot on this YouTube channel, podcast, articles, the whole thing. Basically, the Holy Trinity, when I refer to that, I'm talking about health, wealth, relationships. If you were to divide your life up into the 3 most important categories, probably it would be those 3 categories. So think of it like this. Someone in the no contact rule who maybe feels like they want to focus on their Holy Trinity will focus on their health, right? They'll feel like, I need to get in better shape. I feel bad about myself. I'm going to do something physical to do this. And they go on a run. Well, on that run, they hit this flow state, this point where they feel like, wow, I feel really awesome. They have no self-doubt. They are 100% sure that they're going to hit their goal of hitting 6 miles in the day, and they hit it. And then they carry that success over to the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And the beautiful part about it is they don't just use it on one aspect of the Holy Trinity. They use it on all aspects, with their relationships, with their wealth, with other aspects of their health. And it just creates this almost high in how they feel about themselves after their no contact rule is complete. So much so that sometimes we have a hard time of getting them to even try to contact their exes again because they've let go. So it's all about kind of building upon all of these successes by hitting this flow state. Okay, so that's gonna do it for this video. Now, obviously, just a 10-minute video is not enough to explain why dumpers come back from start to finish. The best thing you can do if you want to figure out more details about what you should be doing to get a dumper to come back to you is to hop over to my website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, and check out some of the articles there. In addition to that, do not forget to take the X Recovery Chances quiz. If you want to take that quiz, just simply look in the description link below this YouTube video and click on the link you see there. Also, if you haven't liked, commented, or subscribed to my YouTube channel, please, please, please do so. Every little bit helps. I'll see you next time.